All stand and remain standing until the conclusion of the reading of the proclamation. Ladies and gentlemen, the proclamation. All persons having any business before this honorable court now draw nigh. Give your attendance, and you shall be heard. God save the Queen.
Admission of lawyers. Laura Bridget Batchelor Sharp.
May it please the court, I move that Laura Bridget Batchelor Sharp be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Laura Bridget Batchelor Sharp be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Caitlin Marie Bell.
May it please the court, I move that Caitlin Marie Bell be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Caitlin Marie Bell be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Lachlan Alexander Bellack.
May it please the court, I move that Lachlan Alexander Bellack be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Lachlan Alexander Bellack be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
U.B.
May it please the court, I move that UB be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let UB be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Jia Yu Chen.
May it please the court, I move that Jia Yu Chen be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Jia Yu Chen be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Jasmine Helen Coombs.
May it please the court, I move that Jasmine Helen Coombs be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Jasmine Helen Coombs be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Anthony John Donovan.
May it please the court, I move that Anthony John Donovan be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Anthony John Donovan be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Alexis Storm Edenberg.
May it please the court, I move that Alexis Storm Edenberg be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Alexis Storm Edenberg be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Richard Harry Fenton.
May it please the court, I move that Richard Harry Fenton be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Richard Harry Fenton be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Elise Galati.
May it please the court, I move that Elise Galati be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Elise Galati be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Maeva Ade Yvonne Gaia Carl.
May it please the court, I move that Maeva Ane Yvonne Gaia Carls be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Maeva Ane Yvonne Gaia Carl be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Isabella Francis Gray.
May it please the court, I move that Isabella Francis Gray be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Isabella Francis Gray be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Yining Han.
May it please the court, I move that Yining Han be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Yining Han be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Helena Angela Hanna.
May it please the court, I move that my daughter, Helena Angela Hanna, be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Helena Angela Hanna be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Alessandra Charlotte Hayward.
May it please the court, I move that Alessandra Charlotte Hayward be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Alessandra Charlotte Hayward be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Rachel Haziza.
May it please the court, I move that Rachel Haziza be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Rachel Haziza be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Wayne Ho.
May it please the court, I move that Wayne Ho be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Wayne Ho be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Benjamin Allen John.
May it please the court, I move that Benjamin Allen John be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Benjamin Allen John be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Michelle Joyce.
May it please the court, I move that Michelle Joyce be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Michelle Joyce be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Jasleen Kaur.
May it please the court, I move that Jasleen Kaur be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Jasleen Kaur be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Lucy Ann Kelly.
May it please the court, I move that Lucy Ann Kelly be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Lucy Ann Kelly be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Vivian Ji Yon Lee.
May it please the court, I move that Vivian Ji Yon Lee be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Vivian Ji Yun Lee be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Sir Jin Lee.
May it please the court, I move that Sir Jin Lee be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Sir Jin Lee be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Jai Yi Lee.
May it please the court, I move that Jai Yi Lee be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Jai Yi Lee be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Gemma Patricia Lyles.
May it please the court, I move that Gemma Patricia Lyles be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Gemma Patricia Lyles be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Julie Litva.
May it please the court, I move that Julie Litva be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Julie Litva be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Lachlan Edward MacDonald.
May it please the court, I move that Lachlan Edward MacDonald be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Lachlan Edward MacDonald be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Marie Maragadakis.
May it please the court, I move that Marie Maragadakis be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Marie Maragadakis be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Alex Michael McCaffrey.
May it please the court, I move that Alex Michael McCaffrey be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable
Let
court.
Alex Michael McCaffrey be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Laura Mary Mackenzie McCarg.
May it please the court, I move that Laura Mary Mackenzie McCarg be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Laura Mary Mackenzie McCarg be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Cameron Joshua Munro.
May it please the court, I move that Cameron Joshua Munro be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Cameron Joshua Munro be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Natasha Lucia Mustak.
May it please the court, I move that Natasha Lucia Mustak be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Natasha Lucia Mustak be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Kihan Ning.
May it please the court, I move that Kian Ning be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Kihan Ning be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Ren Wen Raymond Au.
May it please the court, I move that my partner, Renwen Raymond Au, be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Renwen Raymond Au be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Ying Hai O Yang.
May it please the court, I move that Ying I O Yang be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Ying I O Yang be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Dominic Damien Maley Page.
May it please the court, I move that my son, Dominic Damien Maley Page, be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Dominic Damien Maley Page be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Sasha Isha Chin.
May it please the court, I move that Sasha Isha Chin be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Sasha Isha Chin be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Angad Singh Randawa.
May it please the court, I move that Angad Singh Randhawa be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Angad Singh Randhawa be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Tamana Sapra.
May it please the court, I move that Tamana Sapra be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Tamana Sapra be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
William Arlington Simpson.
May it please the court, I move that my son, William Arlington Simpson, be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let William Arlington Simpson be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Parminder Singh.
May it please the court, I move Parminder Singh be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Parminder Singh be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Gihan Sleeman.
May it please the court, I move that my sister Jihan Sleiman be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Jihan Sleeman be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
King Yung Tang.
May it please the court, I move that King Yung Tang be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That King Yung Tang be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Ho Ching Ten.
May it please the court, I move that Ho Ching Tan be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Ho Ching Tang be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Claudia Madeline Thompson.
May it please the court, I move that Claudia Madeline Thompson be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Claudia Madeline Thompson be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Stephanie Turek.
May it please the court, I move that Stephanie Turek be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Stephanie Turek be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Michael John Turner.
May it please the court, I move that Michael John Turner be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Michael John Turner be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Mei Sean Wu.
May it please the court, I move that Mei Shan Wu be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Mei Shan Wu be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Gang Zhang.
May it please the court, I move that Gang Zhang be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Gang Zhang be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Xilen Zhang.
May it please the court, I move that Zilin Zhang be admitted as a lawyer in this honourable court.
That Zilin Zhang be admitted as a lawyer of this court. It will now be necessary for those applicants whose admission has just been moved to stand as directed and remain standing for the purposes of swearing an oath or making an affirmation. Please stand as directed by the officiating officer.
Could rows 1 and 2 on my right please stand? Laura Bridget Batchelor Sharp. Caitlin Marie Bell. Lachlan Alexander Bellack. UB. Jia Yu Chen. Jasmine Helen Coombs. Anthony John Donovan. Alexis Storm Edenberg. Richard Harry Fenton. Elise Galati. Maeva Anne Yvonne Gaia Carl. Isabel Frances Gray. Yining Han. Helena Angela Hannah. Alessandra Charlotte Hayward. Rachel Haziza. Do you severally swear or declare and affirm that you will truly and honestly conduct yourselves in the practice of a lawyer of the Supreme Court of New South Wales, and that you will faithfully serve as such in the administration of the laws and usages of this state according to the best of your knowledge, skill and ability? Please say, so help me God, or I do.
I do.
Thank you. Please sit down. And could rows 3 and 4 to my right please stand? Wayne Ho. Benjamin Allen John. Michelle Joyce. Jasleen Kaur. Lucy Ann Kelly. Vivian Ji Yon Lee. Surgeon Lee. Jai Yi Lee. Gemma Patricia Lyles. Julie Litva. Lachlan Edward MacDonald. Marie Maragadakis. Alex Michael McCaffrey. Laura Mary Mackenzie McHarg. Cameron Joshua Munro. Natasha Lucia Mustak. Kian Ning. Ren Wen Raymond Ao. Ying Hai Ao Yang. Dominic Damien Maley Page. Sasha Isha Chin. Do you severally swear or declare and affirm that you will truly and honestly conduct yourselves in the practice of a lawyer of the Supreme Court of New South Wales, and that you will faithfully serve as such in the administration of the laws and usages of this state according to the best of your knowledge, skill and ability? Please say, so help me God, or I do. Thank you. Please sit down. And could both rows to my left please stand up? Angad Singh Randhawa. Tamana Sapra. William Arlington Simpson. Paminda Singh. Gahan Jihan Sleeman. King Yung Tang, Ho Ching Teng, Claudia Madeline Thompson, Stephanie Turek, Michael John Turner, Meishon Wu, Gang Zhang, Zilan Zhang. Do you severally swear or declare and affirm that you will truly and honestly conduct yourselves in the practice of a lawyer of the Supreme Court of New South Wales, and that you will faithfully serve as such in the administration of the laws and usages of this state according to the best of your knowledge, skill, and ability? Please say, "So help me God," or "I do." Thank you. Please sit down.
Well, may I warmly welcome you all to the Supreme Court of New South Wales. Present with me on the bench to my right, immediate right, is Justice Gleeson, a Judge of Appeal. To my left, Justice Parker, a Judge of the Equity Division, and to Justice Gleeson's right, Justice Henry, who is also a Judge of the Equity Division of the Court. Together, we constitute the court that has, in the exercise of its jurisdiction, admitted you, the newly admitted lawyers, to practice this day. We have done so sitting on the land for which the Gadigal of the Eora Nation have cared and been custodians for thousands of years, and the court, of course, pays its sincere respects to the Gadigal elders past and present, and extends those respects to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people. Well, to all of the newly admitted lawyers here today, welcome to the legal profession. Today is one of importance and celebration. We know that you have all worked extremely hard to get here. Countless late nights of study, obscure problem questions, reading wafer-thin pages of textbooks, and sometimes intolerably lengthy judgments, no doubt written by some of us. And for most of you, your journey has involved two extraordinarily challenging final years, affected by the pandemic, and in which you may have been deprived or shortchanged of many of the opportunities for the forging of close bonds with your peers that those final 2 years of study usually presents. Nonetheless, you have faced and come through this additional adversity, one unprecedented in our lifetimes, and that makes your achievements recognised today all the more impressive, and it means that the resilience you have no doubt developed will serve you well into the future. In being admitted as a lawyer of this court, you join an honourable and ancient profession with the custom of advocates swearing an oath on admission to practice dating all the way back to the 12th century. And this court, the Supreme Court of New South Wales, first admitted lawyers in 1824, and by 1830 the names of lawyers were entered onto the rolls in this state, just as you will do immediately after this ceremony. I'm also pleased to welcome here to the court today those with you or watching on the live stream. For many of you, no doubt, the support of your family and friends will have been invaluable. They will have, I expect, been on the receiving end of your finely polished or developing skills of argument and persuasion, and I encourage you to take time to thank them today, depending perhaps on how good an advocate you have become. You might even convince them to shout you lunch. The law touches every facet of our society, and it can and will lead you all in many different directions and career paths. But in whatever direction you head, you must always remember that the oath or the affirmation you've just made is a serious one and deserves solemn regard. Whether you work in private practice, at the bar, in a community legal sentence centre, a Crown Law Office, a government department or agency, legal aid, or the Aboriginal Legal Service, or in an entirely different field, you should be known for your honesty, your integrity, and your commitment to justice. And you must strive at all times to uphold these cardinal values. Admission as a member of the legal profession is a privilege, it's not a right. And it's in acknowledgement of this weighty responsibility that we observe today's unique formalities, including the fact that your admission has been moved by someone who is already a member of your new profession, and that you have made a formal oath or affirmation in the presence of your family and peers. They are all thereby witnesses to the promises and undertakings you have made today. As to formality, you'll see from some of the portraits of former Chief Justices on the walls of this court that we are wearing the same robes, in some cases literally, as have been worn by our predecessors. There's a symbolism to that because it highlights the continuity of the rule of law in New South Wales for 200 years, although the judges wearing the robes are now drawn from an increasingly diverse pool. As to continuity of the rule of law, in a world in which there is much global uncertainty and insecurity, the rule of law is more important now than ever. It's not simply a phrase of some theoretical or academic interest. The rule of law is the opposite of the arbitrary abuse of power and the rule of autocratic dictators and populists. We know, sadly, from recent history around the globe, there is nothing theoretical about those threats. Although we mark this occasion with formality and tradition, not everything in the legal profession remains unchanging. The pandemic meant a rapid shift to an increased use of virtual courtroom setups and technology to ensure that the courts remained open, access to justice continued in the midst of the pandemic. And technology delivered greater workplace flexibility, which is especially important for lawyers with family and other caring responsibility. And indeed, it has had profound implications for how our legal system interacts with and has become more accessible to many people. But although the increased use of technology offers a number of advantages, the practice of the law has human nature and human interaction and human experience at its core. An essential part of being a good lawyer is understanding people, how others react to different situations, how people perform or don't perform under pressure, and how they deal and interact with each other. As I said in my swearing-in speech as Chief Justice 6 months ago, whilst the remote practice of the law may be possible, it is far from desirable. There are, of course, other changes in the legal profession that deserve attention in addition to those arising from the pandemic. When we think of the diversity of the legal profession, there is a duality at work. On the one hand, much progress has been made in some areas, though more still needs to be done. Take gender, for example. Originally, women were not even permitted to practice or be admitted as a lawyer in this state, but since 2018, women have made up more than half of all solicitors with a practicing certificate in New South Wales and currently make up 2/3 of solicitors under the age of 30. Since 2014, 50% of the appointments to this court have been women, and the local court of New South Wales, a very, very large and important court, has gender parity. And women occupy, of course, some very high offices in the land, including the Chief Justice of the High Court and the Chief Justices of Queensland, Victoria and the ACT. There should also, however, be strong representation of lawyers from many different backgrounds which comprise our cosmopolitan community. Diverse representation amongst solicitors, advocates and judges assists in ensuring that all people who become involved in our justice system can and feel that they can be properly heard, understood and engaged with by a system which is reflective of our broader community. That is an important element in building trust in the legal system and the judiciary. The admissions ceremonies in which I have sat since becoming a judge almost 4 years ago, including this ceremony, highlight that there is a far greater diversity of background amongst junior lawyers than when I commenced practice. That's a very good thing, and the leaders of the profession and of the courts are working hard to foster inclusiveness and diversity in this profession. And you, the newly admitted lawyers, enter the profession at a time when now, more than ever, your words and actions are having an impact for good. You are being heard and taken seriously when you agitate, as you should, to correct injustices, whether it be speaking out about unjust laws, systemic failings affecting our society's most vulnerable, or unsustainable working cultures, sexual harassment, or bullying. You should speak up for the things that matter and in which you believe. That is one of the elements which courageous lawyers have always demonstrated over the centuries. I would also urge you to engage with or continue to engage with your communities outside of your immediate jobs. Your training as a lawyer and your training as a lawyer in systematic thought, the importance of matters of principle and fundamental fairness, including due process and natural justice, equip you very well for service above and beyond day-to-day practice and in the wider community. It's an important role lawyers can and do play in many community organisations. Now, turning from opportunities to obligations and a little bit of friendly advice. As a lawyer, you will often need to make difficult, sometimes extremely difficult, ethical decisions. When so confronted, you must use the tools you have developed to think critically and not compromise on your fundamental duties to the court and to the administration of justice. One mistake which I always advise young lawyers they should not make is to give their clients the advice they think the clients want to hear. That will not be good advice, and it will not be consistent with your professional obligations. Justice Gageler, one of our finest judges, once said, and I quote, "You must be prepared to give the same answer to the same questions for the same reasons, no matter who asks the question or for what purpose or in what context the asking may occur." Being a lawyer means that you are now an advisor, a problem solver, sometimes a mediator, sometimes an advocate. As you go about your day-to-day work, I would urge you to remember that you're not merely dealing with the law in a vacuum, but the law as it applies to people's lives. An individual, for example, in need of your services as a lawyer, will often be an individual facing some kind of great personal challenge or crisis affecting his or her liberty, property, personal well-being or health, family circumstances or financial position. For these reasons, you must always strive to deliver legal services sensitively with courtesy, empathy and integrity. In this context, I wish to emphasise the importance of the old-fashioned notion of civility. Aspects of the law, especially if you are involved in the litigation side of practice, are confrontational. The practice of the law generally can be stressful and demanding enough without personal animus and antagonism between lawyers adding to the load. So I would suggest that it is essential that you maintain and strive to maintain your detachment, balance and good humour at all times, remembering that you are members of a profession and not a business. And also remember this, the best advocates can and do make their point simply and succinctly. Often, less is more. Some of the most experienced lawyers and judges could also use that reminder from time to time. And whilst I, of course, accept my colleagues on the bench, I do not accept myself from that. For a non-lawyer, law is often incomprehensible, and one of your roles as a lawyer will be to make the law accessible to others, sometimes by deciphering legal complexities, other times by deciphering poor legal drafting, more often than not trying to explain in intelligible language what the relevant principles are and what the particular person's situation, obligations, rights and duties are. Strive when you do this to be clear and concise at all times in both your writing and your speaking. Now, at various points in your career, you will make mistakes, some minor, some more serious. We all make mistakes from time to time, especially when we are embarking on something new. What is important is you try not to make the same mistake twice, and when and if you do make mistakes, your commitment to honesty, integrity, and the administration of justice means that you should take responsibility for them, correct what you can, and to learn from any mistakes. One thing which we're much more conscious of these days than in the past is the importance of maintaining your physical and mental health. That's important not just in itself, but somebody who's not healthy physically or mentally will not be able to discharge their professional obligations as well as ideally they should. There may, and I dare say will be, times when you feel overwhelmed, burned out, or distressed. Legal practice can be all-consuming and physically and mentally taxing. Now, one of the reasons for that is that lawyers tend to be the types of people who will go the extra mile, who will want to achieve great outcomes for their clients, will want to solve problems, and sometimes it's very demanding and exhausting. It's honourable that we do work as hard as we do, but you must work hard also to keep your balance and keep your eye out to ensure that your colleagues do as well. If you do get overwhelmed by it, as frankly we all have from time to time and occasionally still do, try to take a step back and recapture some perspective, or suggest gently to your colleagues that they do the same. In this context, you should also remember or know or learn that the law is a highly collegiate profession, and in times of difficulty, the support of your peers will be invaluable, as will the institutional support provided by the Law Society of New South Wales and the New South Wales Bar Association, the two institutional organisations which are well equipped not only to encourage young practitioners but to support them as they embark on their careers. Well, can I say this to you in closing? The law is a wonderful profession. It is stimulating, challenging, and satisfying. And it is populated by intelligent, committed, and dynamic people such as yourselves. You should be proud to be a lawyer and of your achievements to date, and you should remain proud to be a lawyer. It is a very important profession in which we are engaged. The rule of law is what holds our society together across every facet of our existence, and you as lawyers now are a very important part of that profession and in discharging that role. So hold your heads high and the very best of luck on the exciting journey that lies ahead. On behalf of Justice Gleeson, Justice Parker, Justice Henry, and indeed all of our colleagues on the Supreme Court of New South Wales, I once again congratulate you on your admission and welcome you to the legal profession. The court will now adjourn.
All stand. This honourable court is now adjourned. God save the Queen.